Alicia, what can you tell us about this latest attack?
Yes, Zach. This incident happened at 6:30 Wednesday evening. A 29-year-old woman was walking near Canby and Pender Street when a man approached her and suddenly lashed her out. He punched her in the face, knocked her down to the ground. The suspect was last seen running into West Dunsmuir Street. The police says he punched her out of nowhere. A number of people came to the victim's aid and stayed until the police came. The suspect's face was partially covered with a bandana. He was wearing a black hoodie and a white stripe in the back, black pants, and a black shoes. Anyone with information about this assault is required to call the police. Alicia Nolasco, Evolution News.
The aging iconic landmark at the east end of Vancouver's Falls Creek is getting a facelift.
We're using $20 million to support critical infrastructure construction. This is going to include repairing the leaking dome and making the building more energy efficient, which will save money over the long term.
The money for Science World is coming from a new $50 million fund for BC's tourism sector. Fixing the leaks here is part of the plan.
Yeah, so we're upgrading some of our visitor exhibits. For example, one of the things that will be coming later this year is our Creative Technology Gallery, which is an immersive experience that I think will be a very nice addition to Science World's exhibits.
But it's the price tag about these new exhibits that others critique.
David Eby has a huge problem with spending too much taxpayer money.
The Canadian Taxpayers Federation says the money for Science World is the latest example of a premier on a misguided spending spree.
So we can argue all day long about whether Science World needs a new roof today or tomorrow or next year or in 10 years. But at the end of the day, David Eby is spending money that we don't have.
Science World CEO welcomes the money but says it won't cover all the planned repairs and upgrades. The dome was originally built for Expo 86 and only decided to last for the 6-month fair.
But the future has caught up with our iconic dome, and we do need to make some significant upgrades to continue to serve British Columbians and visitors from around the world.
During the pandemic, Science World received 142,000 visitors when they usually welcome around 900,000 people annually. It is hoped those numbers to increase, and once again, Science World will be a glowing beacon on the shores of Falls Creek. Alicia Nolasco in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. Candles, photos, and displays were put up to commemorate the 4th year anniversary of Flight PS752. That killed 176 people, 85 of them Canadian residents and citizens. The families and communities of the affected were able to mourn with dedicated performances.
You're all Iranians, we're all a family, and like mostly the people who live here actually. So we kind of see ourselves as a family because, especially after the thing that happened, we really felt more connected to each other.
Arman Abtahi, organizer of the memorial, who also lost his brother in the downing, reminds us of the importance of commemorating the death of all the airplane victims.
The path to justice is very long, and unfortunately it's very slow, but we need the community support for justice to be served.
Last year, the province contributed $100,000 to the city of North Vancouver to create a monument to remember the victims.
Our staff are working with the families to find a suitable and special location for a PS752 memorial.
Even after 4 years, the sadness and grieving continue.
Association tries to keep the memory of the lost ones alive. We don't want them to be forgotten.
The PS752 Justice Association is still demanding answers, hoping to get an international hearing this year. Alicia Nolasco in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.